Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So if you're watching this today, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas on the 26th of December 2022. I hope you're all having a great Christmas. So I have here another 10 currently inked pens for this week. This is the Christmas special edition. So I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right, we have an Onoto Magna Carta. We have an Onoto Rosetta Stone. We have an Onoto, and this is the British Museum, Great Court. We have a Taccia Miyabi, and this is the Winter's Breath. We have another Taccia Miyabi, and this is the Empress edition of the Winter's Breath. We have a Taccia Miyabi, and this is the Earth in Aka Tamanuri. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. We have a Visconti Opera Master Savanna, a Visconti Opera Master, and this is the Antarctica, and we have a Visconti St Basil. So I think let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. So this you've seen a number of times on my currently inked videos. I have done the review on this pen. This is the Onoto Magna Carta. Now, this is a pen made out of a solid silver or sterling silver, AG925 as it's called. Now, this is handmade in the UK by UK silversmiths and goldsmiths. So this is a beautiful pen that Onoto have made, and I have to really say to Onoto that some of these pens are absolutely a work of art. This, because it is solid silver, is not a lightweight pen. So you are looking at around about 100 grams in weight. So this is a heavy pen for most people. Whenever I take this pen to my pen club, I whip out the pen and I always get comments that, wow, that is a heavy pen. And it is. It's not a light pen. So these pens, because they are made of solid silver, they are going to be heavy. So you do have to bear that in mind if you are going to purchase one of these beautiful pens. But you can see here, though, this is a very nice pen. You have the Magna Carta inscribed into that cap, as well as into the body as well. And then you have a shield there. It is a stunning pen. You even have a coin finial there on the cap finial. This is a beautiful pen, very, very weighty and quite long as well. It does come with what Onoto called a number 7 size nib. Now, if you're not aware, the nib size designation is always down to the width at the nib collar here when it goes into the section. So most nibs typically are number 5 or number 6 nib. Onoto are a number 7. So the number there is based around the millimeter diameter. So obviously a number 6 and a number 7 is only 1 millimeter apart, and a number 5 to a number 6 is only 1 millimeter apart. But it does actually make for a slightly larger nib, although it is difficult to really tell up close to a number 6 size nib. You really only see the difference when you go from maybe a 2 millimeter jump on a nib size, so from a 6 to an 8, although you do see quite a bit between a 5 and a 6. But when you start getting to 6 and above, you typically don't see a huge amount unless you're going around 2 millimeters in diameter. It's a beautiful pen. I have this inked up. It's a cartridge converter pen, and as much as cartridge converters do frustrate me, because when I write a lot, I have to re-ink them a lot. But I do find they are so much easier to clean. So I do love this pen a lot, and I do love writing with it. It is a fine nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib as well. I didn't think that I would really love the fine nib from Onoto. Now, Onoto nibs nowadays, they have changed a little bit. So previously, all of the modern day Onotos were Bock nibs. So whether or not they were steel nibs, whether or not they were 18 karat gold nibs. Now they have actually moved the steel nibs to Yovo. So the gold nibs are still Bock. So the 18 karat gold nibs are Bock. The steel nibs are Yovo. So that's the only difference, though, that you will see in some of the... I think that change was made within the last couple of years at Onoto. But it really depends on what type of nib you like. Some people prefer Bock nibs, some people prefer Yovo. Onoto don't do an 18 karat gold Yovo nib. They only use the Bock nib. The reason why they've switched to Yovo for steel is that Bock just couldn't supply as many as they wanted with the design, and likewise, I'm guessing probably down to the cost as well, and probably the amount of volume of nibs that you need to buy. Typically, Bock do require a large amount. So if you're going to have, not even a stamped nib, if you're going to buy, let's say, an 18 karat gold nib from Bock, you would need to buy, last I heard, which was about a couple of years ago, you would have to buy 5,000 nibs in each nib width. So if you wanted fine, medium, and broad, you would have to order 15,000 nibs. So that's quite a lot of nibs for a lot of these more smaller time manufacturers. Now, this pen here is the Onoto, and it is the Rosetta Stone. So quite similar to the Magna Carta, but what you will see here is all of the inscription of the Rosetta Stone. Well, I say all. There's a lot of inscription here, but it's not taking the whole inscription from the Rosetta Stone. Beautiful, beautiful pen. The inscriptions here are so fine. I really, really am in awe that Onoto managed to pull this off on a pen. Beautiful. You don't get the cap finial like you do on the Magna Carta, which I kind of think that was a missed opportunity from Onoto. Maybe they just didn't want to copy and have it look identical to the Magna Carta. But I do think having maybe, I don't know, a cap finial in a gold coin with maybe some, maybe an Egyptian character, hieroglyphs, I think that would have made it look just a little bit nicer. But I still have to say I am still in awe and still love this pen a lot. So I have this one inked up with me this week. Again, it's solid silver, AG Sterling 925. You can see there, it's quite cold here at the moment in the UK. So there is a little bit of frostiness going on that nib there. It's a number 7 size, fine nib, 18 karat gold nib, cartridge converter again. Can you post these? They will post, but look, they are not really designed to post. So although you can put the cap on the end of the pen, they are not designed to do so, I would say. Beautiful pen, and love it to bits. Again, very weighty, solid silver or sterling, AG925. So again, it's around about 95 to 100 grams in weight, but it's a pen that I love writing with. The next pen is a pen that I picked up just after the London Pen Show, and I went to the London Pen Show in October 2022, and I didn't know what I wanted other than I would like to have picked up some Danny Trios. I would have liked to have, I don't know, picked up some Urushi pens, and there really wasn't a lot around. I had seen this pen being offered second-hand. It wasn't brand new, but at quite a sizable discount. and this was from Roy at Izod's, and I said to Roy turned up at the show. I hadn't given him any prior knowledge that I was interested in this pen, but he'd had it listed for several weeks. So I mentioned to Roy at the show. He said, "Oh, I haven't actually brought the pen with me, actually." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? I'm actually glad you didn't, because somebody else might have bought it at the show." So I made him an offer, and after the show, he came back and accepted it. And a couple of days later, I think 3 days later, the pen arrived, and beautiful, beautiful work of art. Now, again, this is a solid silver, AG925. Again, around another 95 to 100 grams in weight. It's got a lot of features of the British Museum. So this is like the glass roof. And you can see that there as well on the cap finial. And then, although it's silver, it's actually got this lovely engraved pattern, and it's enameled. So this is a very shiny pen, and you can just see that there. Beautiful, beautiful pen, and I really, really, again, do like this pen a lot. So you can see here it says the British Museum. I've been writing with this a lot since I come back from the London pen show. So technically, I didn't actually come back with any pens because I didn't really see any Danny Trios that spoke to me, and I saw some Urushi pens, and I didn't really. They didn't. Some of them spoke to me, but they weren't Danny Trio. They were kind of unbranded. They looked lovely, but they had steel nibs, and they were about £1,000. And I just thought I just couldn't pull the plug on those. So I decided I would get this one. So technically, I guess this is my London Pen Show pen. And you can see there again another number 7 size and Onoto nib, cartridge converter. And again, like this is not designed to be posted. Beautiful, beautiful enamel that is on this pen, though. I honestly, these pens are not cheap, and I will put my hand up and agree that these pens are not cheap. That they are expensive pens but they are silver. And okay, are they worth the retail price that they're being sold for? When you look at the cost of grams per silver, probably not. But these are made in the UK by UK artisans, UK silversmiths and goldsmiths. So the hourly cost of labour is going to be a lot higher than maybe it is from a pen made in China. So bear that one in mind. But on each of these pens, I got them for a very good price, nowhere near the MSRP, thankfully. So for me, it was worth it. Definitely worth picking these 3 pens up when I did. Very glad. So I actually bought this one directly from Onoto, and then these 2 actually from Roy at Izod. So that was very good in that sense. So I'm very glad that I was able to pick those up this year and add them to my collection. Another pen that I have is, and you've seen this many times before, the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. It is an ebonite pen, molded ebonite pen, and then you have this maquillé of crushed quail's eggs and also abalone shell strips, and it's all glued onto the pen and then Urushi lacquered over the top. Beautiful, beautiful work of art. Great to bring this pen out in the cold weather months, because it just reminds me of snow and snowy days. When I bought it, they only had the number 6 size Taccia nib on these. It is a cartridge converter, and I can unscrew the body, and there is that Taccia or Sailor cartridge converter. Now these nibs, although they are Taccia nibs, they are made by Sailor. So you can, if you want, post the cap, and it does post fairly deeply. Again, I don't typically post this because I just don't want to scratch or chip that enamel, the Urushi lacquer, essentially. Although Urushi lacquer is quite hard, I just still try not to. Now, I did say when I was buying that pen that I really wish that it came with a number 8 size nib, and about 6 months later, strangely enough, Taccia actually listened, and with Sailor managed to bring out the Empress model. Now, the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath is not a cheap pen. And the Empress is about another £700 to £900, euros or dollars on top of this one. And I said I would never buy the Empress model now because I have the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. However, as luck would have it, somebody was selling the Miyabi Empress version of the pen second-hand, lightly used, and for a really good price, or at least what I perceived as a really good price. So I decided, you know what, it didn't really cost me much more than this one. So I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to buy this. So I bought it secondhand. The difference between the Empress, or the regular and the Empress, you can see here, is that it's slightly longer, slightly more thicker in girth. It also has the clip, a black ruthenium coated clip, and also the eggshells, the Quell's eggshells there as well. Beautiful pen. I do love these Miyabis. I do love this Winter's Breath. And if I unscrew this, you will now see a number 8 size nib there. Again, cartridge converter. That section also is a little bit thicker as well, which I do find quite thick, to be honest. But they done that to, I believe, to actually help include or insert the number 8 size nib, King of Pen nib there. It is an interesting one. It's definitely a cigar pen. Yes, you can post the cap. You cannot post the cap. You can post the cap, but you've got to push it on a little bit harder. So, and again, that you're going to scratch that Urushi finish if you're not careful. So, yes, I don't normally post my caps. So that one you do have to be a little bit more careful with. It doesn't post as securely as the original Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. Now, I believe this was in October after I came back from the pen show, just thinking about this. The next pen here, I was actually looking for another pen, and I just stumbled across an old pen seller that I used to use a lot, used to buy a lot of pens from, and I haven't for quite a while. And the only reason was because they didn't have any pens that really spoke to me. And I think the amount of pens, or the types of pens that they sold, changed. My sort of collection of pens also took a bit of a change, and we just parted ways a little bit. But I saw this, again, another Taccia Miyabi, not a Winter's Breath, but it's the Earth. So it's not the Empress version, it's the same as the original version. But this is, and this was from Chris at Truffet. And it was great to be able to go and buy another pen from Chris. I saw this here. Again, it was a second-hand pen. But it was going for, again, what I thought was a good price. So I decided, I do like the Taccia sort of regular and the Empress models. This is the regular model. I do like Urushi and I do like Aka Tamanuri, so I decided I would pick this one up as well. So this is a beautiful, beautiful Aka Tamanuri-like finish here. You've got the clip Urushi as well. Again, it's a cartridge converter. A number 6 size nib there, so unlike the Empress, which has got a number 8 size nib, this is number 6. Again, though, you can post the cap, and it does post quite deeply, unlike the Empress model, as you just saw. But this is a pen that I do like Urushi, and I do love Aka Tamanuri, so I decided I would pick that one up. So I did pick that one up. I think it was mid to late October that I picked that one up. There will be a review of these pens coming very soon, and also I think the Rosetta Stone and also the Great Court, if I haven't already released them by the time I release this video. The next pen here is a classic pen. In more than one way. It is a classic pen, it's a great pen, but it's also a classic pen's LB5, and this is in the Kaen, and so glad I was able to add this to my collection. Really lovely LB5 there. What is there to say about the LB5s? Great collection of pens, only 50 made in every colour. So it is a limited edition run of 50. So maybe there might be 1 or 2 prototypes out there. But this is a beautiful pen. Comes with the Sailor King of Pen nib. These were actually made by Sailor for Andy Lambrou at Classic Pens. And can you post the cap? Yes, you can. Quite deeply, securely. I picked this up for certainly higher than retail price when it was originally selling, when it was released. These have, like some pens, just gone through the roof in terms of prices. I paid a little bit more than retail, not a huge amount more, but some of these are selling for crazy prices. And some of you, or some people, are picking these up for crazy prices. And when I say crazy, I don't mean crazily low. I mean crazily high. Some of these are selling for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 pound, euro, dollars, which to me is insane. I didn't pay anywhere close to any of that, but it is a good pen. It's got a Sailor King of Pen nib on there, and I love the Sailor King of Pen nibs. It's got a medium nib, and I do like it a lot. Now, I went through also, around about the same time, I think it was like sort of October, November time when I got the Miyabi Earth. I won a couple of auctions, and this was from Regina Martini at Martini Auctions in Germany. If you don't know, Regina Martini is a famous Pelican book author and has wrote a number of books about fountain pens. I actually got to meet up with Regina a couple of times actually at the I think 3 times now at the London Pen Show. The first 2 times she was a vendor, and then the last time actually she just popped in the October 2022 London Pen Show, and I got to chat with her a little bit. So I saw this going for a really good price. It's a Visconti Opera Master Savanna, 888 made, and this is 277. Beautiful yellow colour. Now, I want to show you here. There should be ink in that body. You can't see any because I've actually run it dry. I'm going to re-ink it. I actually have Lamy Mango in this, and I really do love it. Now, I could only get this with essentially a broad nib. Unfortunately, I would have liked to have had a medium or fine nib on this. I only managed to get it in a broad, but to be honest, it's got the hook safe lock mechanism there. It's a power vac. It's a double reservoir. To be honest, actually, I like it in a broad nib. I do like this 18 karat gold broad nib from Visconti, and I have to say, putting like a mango yellowy coloured ink in here, or apricot coloured ink, the broad nib actually makes the ink stand out a little bit more. So, in hindsight, I'm actually glad that I did actually get this with a broad nib. And then around about the same time, I also won this other auction from, again, Regina Martini at Martini Auctions in Germany. And this one is the Visconti Antarctica. And beautiful, beautiful swirl pen. I've always liked and lusted after the Polynesia. But the Polynesia has always been a little bit on the pricey side. Typically around about the £1,000 retail mark. I've not wanted to pay that for it. Again, I got this at a really good price. Managed to beat a few people to the final auction price. glad that I was able to add this. I still would like a Polynesia. If I find one at a good price, then maybe I will get one. Again, it's was it 37, I think, there, of 888. It's a double reservoir power vac filler. And again, another 18 karat gold nib, but this has got a fine nib on it. So this is actually quite nice. I do like how it writes. I have to say though that the nib was a little bit scratchy. There was a burr on the inside of the right tine. I've had to correct that myself. If I wasn't proficient at correcting nibs myself, then I would have had to have taken that to a nibmeister, or I might have sold it, which would have been a shame. So I'm glad that I have taught myself and learned how to correct and improve nibs. So I was able to smooth that nib out and also correct the burr on the inside of the right tine. Beautiful pen. Yes, I completely agree. It shouldn't have come like that. But I got it for an insanely low price. So I'm prepared to overlook that. And because I've got nib tuning skills, I was able to correct that myself. But I know it does bring up the Visconti quality control. It's not just Visconti. I see this on other pens as well, that sometimes you can just get a few nibs that just don't write well, or haven't been tuned correctly, or have a burr on the inside of one of the tines. It's just one of those things. When you're trying to mass produce something, there are going to be failures, and it depends on how many failures there are. I don't personally think there are that many failures in Visconti. I have over 70 Viscontis myself. Most of them have been perfectly fine. I have other friends with maybe not as much as 70, but maybe 30 or 40, and most of them have had the same experience that I have, which is the nibs have been pretty good out of the box. And then the last pen I've got here inked up this week is the Visconti St Basil. You might remember I actually bought this in February. I think it was 2020. Oh no, because 2020. Yes, it would have been. The pandemic started at the end of 2019. So I think it would have been February 2020. Beautiful celluloid, blue, reds, blacks, with this lovely gold imprint there of St Basil. Beautiful pen. Has a red ruby there on the cap finial. Great pen. It is a Powervac double reservoir. Has a 23 cat palladium nib there, medium nib. And I absolutely love how this one writes. I do have a speakeasy in this celluloid. I do have another Visconti as well, which is the Southwest from Chattery Luxuries. I love that material. I do also have this in a rollable as well. Not that I use rollables much, but they do come in handy from time to time. So there you have it. That's my Kaen ink pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up this week is the Onoto Magna Carta. So we will do an ink swatch here. Now this is, as I said, quite a heavy pen. It is a grey pen, so I always ink this up with a grey ink. And this one, I've always stuck to the same ink in this pen. So this is the Onoto, and it is the Magna Carta, and it is a fine, and it is an 18 karat gold nib. And I always thought I wasn't going to like the 18 karat gold nib on this, but I really do. Now the ink in here is the ink that I've always used, which is Diamine Earl Grey, and I have to say that this is an ink that writes very well for me. It's a dark grey ink, and it is just an ink that I like a lot. The next pen inked up is the Onoto Rosetta Stone. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And this is an ink. There was a few grey inks that I was going to put in this pen. I didn't want Diamine Earl Grey. I did put in, it was, I believe, a Vinvistus ink at one point, and I decided to swap this out for a different ink. So this is the Onoto Rosetta Stone, and again it is a fine 18 cat gold nib, Bock nib. The ink in here is actually, and I'm just going to double check just to make sure I am correct. It is a Cult Pens exclusive. So this is the Cult Pens Summer ink. And it is called Grey Skies No More. So it is a little bit of a lighter grey. A little bit more maybe towards maybe a graphite colour, I would say. An interesting grey, certainly quite different to Diamine Earl Grey there. The next pen inked up is the Onoto, and this is the British Museum Great Court. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a beautiful blue ink that or turquoisey coloured ink that I have inked up here. So this is the Onoto. And think I'm actually running low on ink. Yeah. I might need to ink this one back up. I've just prepped the converter a bit more. So this is the Onoto, and it's the British Museum. And it's the Great Court. And again, it is a fine, and it is an 18 karat gold Bock nib. And the ink in here, again, I just want to double check I am correct. It is Vinvistus Aqua di Spargi. I did actually buy a second bottle of that ink more recently because I am loving that beautiful turquoise coloured ink. The next pen inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see here, again, it's a lovely, lovely, nice sort of blue turquoisey ink. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. This is actually a broad, not a medium. I was just going to write an M for medium. This is a broad 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz, which is my go-to turquoise coloured ink, or has been, until I've actually found Vinvistus Aqua di Spargi and also Visconti Turquoise. Now they are becoming my go-to turquoisey coloured inks. The next pen here, again, is another Taccia Miyabi, but this is the Empress Winter's Breath. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I so wanted to ink this up with a blue ink, but I decided having two of the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breaths inked up with blue ink just didn't cut it. I was tempted to maybe go for a red ink, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for green. So this is the Taccia, and it's the Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. and this is a medium 18. Is it still 18 karat gold? Yeah, it's. Even though it's a King of Pen nib made by Sailor, this one is an 18 karat gold for Taccia, not a 21 karat gold. And then the ink in here is diamine, and it's ultra green, which I really do like this green. It's a beautiful green colour. I am also getting quite low on that as well, I believe, so I will need to re-ink that one up. The next pen inked up this week is the Taccia Miyabi Earth. So we'll do another ink swatch. Now, I keep umming and ahhing on whether or not I should actually put a darker red in this to match the colour of the pen. Although I have to say, I am liking this lovely pale red colour. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Earth in Aka Tamanuri. And this is a fine nib, and it is an 18 karat gold nib as well. And the ink in here is actually Diamine Passion Red, which is an interesting red. Quite a nice red, I'd have to say. I'm wondering, though, whether or not I should put a darker red in that pen. The next pen inked up is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. So we'll do another ink swatch here. So again, another red pen, another red ink. This is a slightly darker red, so maybe this is the kind of red that I should put in that pen. We'll see though. So this is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. It is a medium, and it's a 21 karat gold nib because it is officially a Sailor King of Pen nib. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is one of the favourite red inks that I do have in my collection. Still have 4 bottles of it, but it's a nice, nice coloured ink. The next pen here is a Visconti Opera Master Savanna. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, this is running low on ink, but you can see there, it's actually quite a nice colour. So this is the Visconti Opera Master Savanna, and it is a broad 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Lamy Mango, which for me is a really beautiful coloured ink, an ink that I am loving using, hence why I am literally running on fumes, and I will need to re-ink that up. The next pen here is the Visconti Opera Master, and this is the Antarctica. So we'll do another ink swatch. But I honestly think I have actually matched the right colour ink to this pen. I'm so glad that I did. I do this a lot on the first try, and I think I did it pretty well. So this is the Visconti Opera Master, and it's the Antarctica. It is a fine, and it is the newer 18 karat gold nib from Visconti, and the ink in here quite simply is Visconti Turquoise, which is an ink I do like a lot. So for me, that is a really Really nice combination of pen and ink. The next and final pen I have inked up this week is the Visconti St Basil. So we'll do an ink swatch, and again, this is a lovely, lovely coloured ink, and I do have this inked up in another pen already this week. So this is the Visconti St Basil, and it is a medium 23 carat palladium nib from Visconti, and the ink in here is the same one as in the classic pens LV5. It's Mont Blanc, Corn, Poppy, Red. But interestingly, you will see, it's going to take a little while to dry, but you will see a difference between the two here, that they will look different. It really depends on the colour, the actual wetness of the nib, depending on how the colour will turn out on the page. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have an Onoto Magna Carta in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have an Onoto Rosetta Stone in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Colt Pens Summer Edition, and this is Grey Skies No More. We have an Onoto British Museum Great Court in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Venvistus Aqua di Spargi. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath in a broad 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath in the medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Ultra Green. We have a Taccia Miyabi Earth in Akatamanuri in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Passion Red. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kaen in a medium 21 karat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti, and this is the Opera Master Savanna in a broad 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Lamy Mango. We have a Visconti Opera Master Antarctica in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Visconti Turquoise. And we have a Visconti St Basil in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.